Jovan and I are always inching closer to retirement age, so who better to have on the show than someone who just hung it up, the hugely successful coach of Syracuse for 47 years, Mr. Jim Boeheim. And I add on a personal note before the first question, you were the only coach older than me in America. And I'm out there alone at this point, and this is bothersome to me. Let's start with this. We've known you a long time, right? The last time we saw you on television, I have to say it looked rather awkward, like you and the administration were maybe not on the same page. Jim, was it your intention to come back next year and coach the team?
Absolutely not. I decided a month or two ago that this was it. We just didn't meet, and we should have. That's partially my fault, partially their fault. We can actually blame it all on them now. We just had to work out some stuff. It was minor. It's all been worked out. I love this university and everything about it. They moved my guy up. Adrian Autry will do a great job. And the only thing I'm shocked about is that Tony, the Binghamton Flash, is still there, Michael. Do you have to take him as part of your contract? Is that the deal? I mean, come on.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, I do. Ball and chain is heavy, too. Jim, I feel fortunate, and Tony does, too, to have had a front row seat to so much of your history at Syracuse, and it's been a total playing and coaching of more than a half century. We can't imagine you anywhere else. In any part of that process, could you imagine you anywhere else in coaching another year or two or whatever you might want to do?
I took a job interview once a long time ago. It lasted 5 minutes in. I knew I was not leaving. And I never took another interview because there was no way I was ever leaving here. I came here when I was 17 as a walk-on, mainly because nobody wanted me. But I got lucky, got a scholarship, played with the great Dave Bing, and, the rest is history. People tend to dwell on the last 2 years, which were struggles, but we had a lot of really good years. And I'm really proud to have been the head coach at Syracuse for so long. I have nothing but love for Syracuse and for the media and for especially you two guys. You guys started with me in the Big East, and it's amazing that we're all still here today. Probably a major upset, I would say.
All right, speaking of upsets, that's a perfect segue into talking about the tournament. And we've had you on for many of these last 20 years of us to talk about the tournament. Give us your sense of it and how wide open it feels to Tony and me, but maybe it doesn't feel that way to you, and sort of who you like as you look at your bracket, Jim.
It's wide open. I'll give you a quick synopsis of college basketball. The NIL and transfer portal has actually helped balance the fields a little bit. Teams at the bottom have been able to get good players and bring them up. Teams at the top are always going to get good players. That's not ever going to change. But I think we have more balance. I think the problem, we need an expansion. There's some teams that should be in the tournament. I think the other thing the committee has done, they've gone too much to the whole year. Well, it's what you did in November. Maybe that gets you in the tournament, okay, but you should be seeded based on what you're doing right now. The last I looked, Duke's won 18 of 19 games, and the one they lost in there, I don't think they really lost, did they? You give the kid the 2 foul shots, I don't think he misses both of them. But Duke at a 5 seed, I think I picked them to win the whole thing because I just think they've come together. They didn't have the healthy point guard. They didn't have a healthy freshman or two back then. I think they'll win the whole thing, but they could lose in the second round too. You can't predict college basketball anymore because there's too many balanced teams, and the good teams are still good, but they're not great.
We heard you mention that Duke would be your choice this year. In a wide open field like this, and Duke is a 5 seed, though we all agree that 5 seed is crazy at this point. But in a wide open tournament like this, are there any small schools? Are there any schools like not Power 5 schools? Schools that you looked at, not that they could win the tournament, but maybe get to the 8, maybe even get to the 4?
it's really hard, and you know I love Charleston, College of Charleston. I like them when I watched them this year. You know, a school like Drake, you know, is playing well. Furman, those schools have really played well this year. And if there's any year for them to make a breakthrough, one of those schools could make a breakthrough. But at the end of the day, it's probably not going to happen. I like Duke. You know, I think I picked it right about 4 times. I don't know if I'm good. I don't know if I got another one in me. And, you know, I'm glad to talk to you guys. I hope next year in my retirement that I get a shout out or something, you know, something, you know. I mean, that is if Tony's
to
still,
that point. Okay.
if Tony's still there. I mean, you know.
Yeah, well,
He's good. He's gonna be in that basement. He can't go anywhere
that
else.
point.
For God's sake.
we need your advice on something, okay? You've been
All right.
retired now for, I don't know, 3.5 hours. We know it's
Yeah.
early for you, but can you give Mike and I any advice on how retirement is and what we should do besides play
I'll tell
golf
you.
with you?
I'll tell you right now, the best week of 10 days of my last 20 or 30 years. The load is off your shoulders. You don't have to go recruit. You don't have to worry about the portal. I have never been happier. I went to see my son Buddy play in Detroit. He hit a couple buckets and, you know, spent 4 days with him. I'm going to go to Prague, just outside of Prague, to see Jimmy play in the Czech Republic next week or pretty soon. Planning on fishing trips already. I'm not even thinking about golf, but I know that I have never been more at peace or happier than I am right now. It feels like that load is finally gone. You know, coaching became 365 days a year, and it was a great job. I loved everything about it, but it's every day. Every minute of every day, you're thinking about recruiting, a transfer, next year's schedule, where we're going to recruit, and that's gone. And I never felt better, honestly.
We're
great.
happy for you.
It's great to hear.
Thank you.
Great
We're
to
happy
hear.
for you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And now you have to buy me dinner, Tony, when we're out. I'm no longer
Happy
have
to
a
do
job,
it.
So.
I'm making money, pal. I'll do it. Let's take one last break. Still to come. Baker Mayfield.